All right, my name is Chris Campbell. I'm a practicing CPA, and I work with small to mid-sized businesses and individuals to help them pay the least amount of taxes possible while keeping them out of jail. So mm, I'm almost certain that I spoke about this before, but the issue popped up again recently with another client. But situation here is I have an S-Corp owner. So this is specifically targeting S-Corp owners that will specifically be in this situation. So the S-Corp owner was looking to actually rent a place, and they had difficulties meeting the income requirement. And that was solely because they had taken a look at the S-Corp owners, just their salary, right? And they were able to make it with their salary, but they had mentioned that it was very close as far as the income requirements. And they had just expressed concerns that, look, this was just from a rental. From when the time comes for them to acquire property, they don't want to run into the same issue as far as not being able to show enough income. And the issue here in their case was that, again, they were just using salary, their W-2 wages, and they weren't taking into account the net profits from the business, because in this instance, the business owner runs quite profitable business at this juncture, but for the sake of being able to reduce the client self-employment tax limits, we have a reduced level of salary for tax saving purposes. So when you combine their net profits plus what they make on W-2, they've more than easily qualified. But in this instance, they were just taking a look at the W-2 wages. So just understand, for those that are S-Corp owners, just to understand that when you go into a borrowing situation, whether that be for apartment, for a home, looking to purchase a vehicle, to make sure that the lender is taking into account that profits from your business as well, and combining that with your W-2 salaries that you're paying yourself to give you a true sense of what your true income is and what your true income accounts for. Now, with that, with your lender, you're going to have to jump through a few hoops. Also, particular client, because of all these hoops, and they weren't aware of it at the time, but because of all the hoops they have to jump through, they thought it was rather invasive. But as co-partners, be prepared to do this when going for lending specifically for a place, mortgage, rent. Be prepared to have your tax returns in order. So both the business as well as your personal returns, you need to have those in order. You need to have your pay stubs in order, W-2s in order. Those last two things are pretty much with anyone. You got to get pay stubs and tax returns, but be prepared to give them your business tax returns as well. And then an extra step is they'll also want to see current profit and loss statements, right? Because your tax returns reflect up to end of that particular year. But let's say that you're in June now. So obviously your last tax return was from 6 months ago, reflected what you did from 6 months ago from the prior year. Most lenders want to get an update and want to see how you're doing as of today. So they'll ask for a recent profit and loss statement. So be prepared. So for S-Corp owners, make sure that when you're going for lending, have your books up to date, because lenders will ask for updated profit and loss statements. And they want to make sure that your business is steady from what you reported on your tax return, because you'll submit about 2 years of tax returns. But the lenders want to make sure is that, okay, was this an anomaly? How's the business currently doing? So be prepared to submit those. And it's not an unusual ask. It is part of the course. So this particular client thought it was a little unusual for them to ask that, or being a bit too invasive. But in those situations, it does make sense. But the idea is that they want to make sure that your business is currently sustaining at least close to the levels of what you reported on your recent tax returns that you've submitted. All right. So I guess the takeaway here is just make sure you have all those things prepared, especially if you're preparing yourself to approach a borrower. All right. Hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions about this topic or any other tax or account related questions, I'm happy to help. All right. That's all for now, and I will talk to you in the next one. Take care.